And actually our moderators for all the races. Today we're joined from Victory and Praise as well as Faith in the Valley. We have organizer, member Trinity Ivy. Raise your hand. Awesome. And also from Victory and Praise Church, we're joined by Lou Mafi. Raise your hand. Leyu Mafi. All right, awesome. And so we'll hear from our moderators. At this time, we'll go ahead and proceed with district number 1. In terms of engagement, you'll hear me say this. All right, we're going to have one applause at the very beginning to welcome each race. We'll have one applause at the end. We ask that you refrain from applauding, clapping, making any type of interruption between candidates. As we are joined by way of live stream, our goal is to make sure that everyone is able to receive the information adequately. And so with that, let's go ahead and clap it up for district number 1.
SJC.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right. So we are going to start with the first candidate. All right. So many tenants report ongoing issues with housing conditions, delays in inspections, and fear of retaliation when they file complaints. How would you improve the city's response to it? Oh.
You interrupted her?
What's his name?
I'm so sorry.
Relax.
Yes, please.
How you guys doing? My name is Shelly Hollis. I'm running for District 1. So I'm a lifetime resident of Stockton, California. I grew up in District 1. I actually went to high school and graduated from Bear Creek in the year 2000. What's very significant about that is not only did I graduate from Bear Creek, but I put my kids through the same district that I was involved in. So I invested in the community. I became a homeowner inside the community. One of the things I've noticed is how it's advanced since the time that I was in there in 1998 was how it's first started to where we are now, ranging all the way from East Mountain going all the way down to West Lane. I've seen so many changes, I've seen so many progressions, and then I've seen things that hasn't changed as often. You know, one of the things I wanted to do is just not be one of those people that are a political leader that just wants to represent themselves for politics. I want to represent the people. A lot of people that are in these seats forget about you after they get the vote. And what I want to do is I want to have transparency. I want you guys to be able to call me as if I'm a relative, I'm a friend, and someone you can trust. And I want to provide everything that you guys need in District 1, not just for my district, but the city.
And once again, just a reminder, we ask everyone to hold their applause to the end of the forum session. Thank you.
Next, we have Michelle Padilla with your opening statement.
She's not here.
Next, we have Lan Nguyen with your opening statement.
Hello, I'm Lan Nguyen. I came from Vietnam. I came here in 1990 as a refugee with my parents. We didn't have any money when we came, and we didn't speak English at all. So I went to Delta College while cleaning people's houses. So the past 5 years, I had decided that, I want to know more about the city. I had came here and how I can help. So I had prepared myself. I went to the city council meeting and speak for the community when needed. And I was also the president of the Asian Pacific Islander for Public Affairs. We see the organization that try to educate the Asian community about civic engagement. I feel that, if I get elected, I can contribute more to the city, and I wish that I can help to make the city better. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Tamika Small.
Good evening, my name is Tamika Small, and I'm a lifelong resident of Stockton. I'm a retired probation officer. After serving 22 years in probation, I decided it was time to serve in a different capacity. One of the main reasons that I chose to run is because I am raising a family here in Stockton. Crime is out of control. I do think that one unique thing that sets me aside from my opponents is that I do have a background in law enforcement. So my experience as a law enforcement officer, that has shaped me and helped me understand the causes of crime and the effects that it has on our neighborhoods and our families. So I'm just hoping tonight that I can gain your support and hopefully your vote, and thank you for this time.
And next we have Annette Sanchez with your opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Annette Sanchez. Born and raised. I think I can speak louder.
Change.
Born and raised here in Stockton all my life. I grew up in Sierra Vista in the project program there. Hello, hello. Oh, it's working. Okay. I'll take you that one. As I stated, I was born and raised here in Stockton. I grew up in Sierra Vista and the projects there. I often say that my character was developed because of where I grew up. You had to be in endurance, you had endurance and also build character. I've lived in my district, in District 1, for 24 years before anything was developed out there. So I've seen it grow throughout the years. And the reason why I'm running is that I do see the conflicts and the challenges within the city of Stockton and my district. And I feel that my entire career that has been in social services has led me to this.
All right, everybody, now we will begin with the questions. We're going to start with candidate Hollis first. Many tenants report ongoing issues with housing conditions, delays in inspections, and fear of retaliation when they file complaints. How would you improve the city's response to habitability complaints to ensure inspections are timely, enforcement is effective, and tenants are not discouraged or retaliated against for reporting issues?
Hello? Okay. That's a very interesting question, but it also comes with education. You need to educate the people of what's going on and what their rights are and what they have access to. A lot of people make these phone calls in fear of retaliation, and the first person they meet kind of shuts them down as far as the information that they're provided. Even when you go to Stockton, California, you go to the city website, a lot of information is extremely unclear. It doesn't point you in the right direction. There's a lot of times that people like you that are sitting out in these seats right now, when you try to reach out to an individual for help, all you get is a voice message. You get a voicemail, and that's it. And you have to continually try to follow up with information that you don't have. Our city clerk's office, I had the opportunity today to try to go down there and get some stuff done myself, and me, sitting here in a council seat, well, not a council seat, but someone running for city council, couldn't get the help that I need. So me presenting myself to you guys to be the candidate that's gonna bring accountability to the people that I'm gonna be working side by side with is something that's gonna help all of us.
Alrighty, would you like for me to repeat the question? Yes, alrighty. Many tenants report ongoing issues with housing conditions, delays in inspections, and fear of retaliation when they file complaints. How would you improve the city's response to complaints to ensure inspections are timely, enforcement is effective, and tenants are not discouraged or retaliated against for reporting issues?
I agree with Mr. Hollis that the city website is really difficult to navigate. I myself, sometimes to look for information there, it's very difficult. So I think the first thing is that we need to improve that website for the city. Secondly, I think, with the new city manager, I will work with my council members and, try to work with the city manager and, have like series of town hall to invite the resident to come and learn about how to get report and meet various department heads. So, to have them listen to the resident what they had to go through to report the, problem that they had to go through. And lastly, I would monthly hold town hall so the resident, so I can help the resident to know that, I am always be there. If they need any help, they can reach out to me. Thank you.
Candidate Small, this is the same question to you. Would you also like for me to repeat the question?
I think it's important to work with our city manager and really honing into what our expectations are as a council. He's overseeing the different departments, so I think letting them know what our expectations are, following up with reports in a timely manner. I also think that utilizing the Ask Stockton app is a really great tool. I've used it several times. They're very responsive. It links all the different departments in the city, public works, code enforcement. You can remain anonymous. You take pictures of whatever your complaint is, and I think it's a great way to report issues, and it's a great way to be able to monitor and track the progress to make sure things are getting done. So I would just really implore the citizens to use that. And again, just working with our city manager and really conveying what our expectations are and hopefully changing that culture of people feeling retaliated against if they submit a claim.
Kennedy Sanchez, would you like for me to repeat the question?
Sure, I can answer it. HUD has strict requirements on what can be done, and they weigh heavy on the residents' rights. So when you, a tenant that is being, that's having issues with rental issues, they have their rights, and there's a contact number that they can call. However, if you're not in a HUD development, you can call Ask Stockton, and Stockton will record that complaint that you have, and they'll and the property that you live in also has property managers, and they're required to follow up with those complaints that you have. So there are resources out there to help you if you have complaints where you live, and so I would suggest reaching out to Ask Stockton, your property manager, and also get familiar with your rights with a HUD property if that's where you live.
Alrighty, our next question. Many districts include neighborhoods with very different economic conditions and needs. How would you ensure that the city resources, services, and attention are distributed equitably across all communities you represent? And how would you stay accountable to residents in both higher and lower income areas? Candidate Hollis?
Yeah, I started in a low-income housing situation. I started on the south side of Stockton. I'm very familiar with growing up in a duplex just because I've been fortunate and had the ability to move myself to a position where I'm in a housing situation I'm at now. That was work. But again, in that same situation, like when I leave to go to work sometimes, I head down Kelly Drive. I notice that every single day that those people don't receive the same treatment as the roads that are designed over here where I'm at in Spanos Park. Just recently, I watched them get speed bumps, but the speed bumps was to deter the people that were speeding for the safety of the individuals in the area, and that was one thing. But I look at their housing all the time. I look at the kids, I look at the lack of crosswalks, I look at the lack of policing in those areas. So one thing is like, you do have to provide them with the same services. I know particularly where I live because I have HOA and I have people that look out for my neighborhood. If something is bad, we have people that represent us that speak up all the time. But we don't have counsel that goes to those areas. All of those places are typically ignored. That's why for me, being 43 years old, in those same areas that people are living in right now, I have seen nothing change. Because people get up here and say what they'll do for those communities and never follow through with them once they take a seat in city council. And for me, that understands because I still myself live that way and have relatives in those areas, it's gonna be a priority.
Candidate Small? Same question.
What I heard from that was economic development. That's what stood out to me. I think with economic development, it goes back to public safety. I think before we can start looking at bringing businesses here, we have to get public safety in order. Nobody's gonna wanna come and do business here and invest in a community where it's riddled with crime. When you speak about economic development, that raises our city's tax base. So if we spend our money here locally, that's gonna create more revenue for us. So I think that we would be able to, at that point, look at bringing better jobs here and building our tax base. I think for the underserved communities, maybe that don't have representation, I think all communities should be equal. I think that we should all have a piece of the pie. I think we need to look at Measure K funding. That measure was passed to support infrastructure like our city roads, our lighting. I think we need to do an audit and have some oversight on where that money is being spent. Is it really being used what it's supposed to be used for? And that's going back into our communities. So I think having the oversight on Measure K is very important. And then obviously I circle back to public safety always before we can look at economic development.
Annette Sanchez, would you like me to read the question? Sure. Many districts include neighborhoods with very different economic conditions and needs. How would you ensure that city resources, services, and attentions are distributed equitably across all communities you represent? And how would you stay accountable to residents in both higher and lower income areas?
I think it first starts with looking at the fiscal aspect of it. There needs to be accountability for the measures that the public has voted for the taxes. We've been asking for particular budget reports to see where the money is being spent. So that we can know exactly where the money is being spent throughout Stockton. So that is it proportionate throughout the city? Is it one area? We don't know that yet because we've been asking for fiscal reports. I would start there. The next thing is the economic. We are considered a minimum wage to mid-income city. And at the cost of housing nowadays, no one can afford a house. So this will probably be the first generation that's not going to be able to afford a home. So I would look into getting companies that would bring head of household income so that they can afford to buy a home. That would be the next area.
Candidate Wynn?
I have walked the streets since I started my campaign. I noticed that, not only now, but for some time I noticed it in my district on Westland, Eldorado, Lower Sac. We saw trash, pile up along the road. And for some time, on regular basis. And since I walk the street, I ask people, and they don't even know that the city, they can call the public work office, and they can put out a big pile of trash, and trash, and the city public work can come and pick it up for free. Instead of because they didn't know their service like that, so they just throw the trash right there. So the solution is just there are areas that need attention. And we need to bring the city council there on regular basis to this area that underserved, so that the city council and public work or different departments to notice that this area needs attention. So if I get elected, I would like to hold a monthly town hall at these areas to get the attention to this area so they can get the services that equally that serve in a more upscale neighborhood. Thank you.
The next topic is homelessness, and we are going to start with candidate Hollis. In recent years, the city has taken steps to address homelessness, including investments in shelter and transitional programs. But at the same time, recent counts show that homelessness in San Joaquin County has more than doubled since 2022. And many community members continue to raise concerns about delays in implementation and the lack of safe, immediate options. As state laws and policies increasingly limit where people can legally sleep, what specific short-term strategies would you support to address these needs? And what is your position on approaches such as safe camping or safe parking programs?
Safe camping and safe parking programs are extremely well needed. A lot of these individuals are mothers, fathers, their families, their children. Some of these people actually still have jobs, so just can't afford the rent that's here in Stockton, California. In our homeless situation, what's been extremely significant is the lack of investment in time and resources in Stockton, California. We just recently had the largest homeless camp in Spanos in District 1 finally taken down, but no one was accountable for where these people were to go. No one gave them options. I've been out on the street and I talked to these people. I actually just recently volunteered my time, and I've been doing it for a few years, actually 35 minutes away here in Modesto, California. And there's a Modesto street team. And one thing that's significant about these people is they're using city resources and they're using grants that are coming from the state, from federal and state levels. And what they're doing is taking the homeless community and actually providing them with jobs for going around the city and picking up trash. We don't see those same services taking place here in the city of Stockton, California. Now, the other significant part is, what do we do with the children? What do we do with the people with mental health issues? What do we do to protect these people? And a lot of our taxpayer money goes into what goes on with homeless, because when someone gets hurt on the street, they have to be provided with medical services. They don't have the resources and funds to pay for those, but we do as a city, but that's taxpayers' money. So what we should do is start these programs. We have all these buildings, we have places, and we have all these ideas that we've been seeing from candidates for the past 16 years, and nothing has taken place, even to the point where people were fighting at the golf course near Lincoln High School at one point because they were going to turn that into a camp. But we have other locations. We have resources downtown. We have buildings that are not being used, and we can get homes. And even at one point when I lived in Canada, in Hastings Streets, they have an entire community where they have exchange needle programs, medical people on site, and they have buildings where these people can be housed and fed on a daily.
Same question to candidate Wynn.
My family had experienced homelessness before, so I understand, the causes, how it get there, and how we live through that, and how we can pull ourselves out of that. I think the current program that the city, the county, and the state have been doing, we put a lot of money in this, program for housing development, low-income housing development, which is good. We should continue to do that. But I think for short-term solution, we need to have a safe space for people to camp or to park their car. Because with this economic environment, there are a lot of people have been laid off, and jobs in the city is really scarce. So, we cannot prevent homelessness. So we need to have safe space for people who experience, like short-term homeless. That they have safe space to camp somewhere. And I think last year the county bought a golf land in the south side, and initially they planned to put some land in that golf land to have safe camping there. And then I don't know what happened, they changed their mind, and they cancel that plan. So if I get elected, I would advocate for that to the county to open the space, to have some space for safe camping. And I also learned from Delta College that, at least like 50% of the students there every day can experience homelessness. So we need to pay attention to that group also. So for short-term solution, we need to have safe space for camping and parking. Thank you.
Same question to candidate Small. Would you like for me to read the question?
When you speak about homelessness, it's very complex because there are many reasons why one is homeless. It could be substance abuse issues, mental health, or people they're working, but they just can't simply afford housing. So I think we have to look at what are the underlying issues first of what's causing the homelessness. I think partnering with behavioral health, some of our CBOs and our nonprofits who are out there doing the work every day, I think we need to tap on them and use them as a resource. I think that the encampment that was moved in Trinity Parkway, I personally think that was for political points because there was no permanent solution for those people. I don't know that they were offered any services, and if they were, what are the benefits? Where are they at? The current incumbent is also the chair of the Homeless Ad Hoc Committee, and homelessness rates have doubled since 2022. So we need to look at the continuum of care. How is this money being spent? What's working and what's not working? That needs to be audited. Safe camping sites, it's not a bad idea, but it's temporary. It's not permanent. We need to start looking at permanent solutions. How do we get the unhoused on a pathway to permanent housing? How do we get them the services that they need that's causing the issues of homelessness? So I think that we need somebody that's solution-driven and not just going to move them from one place to another place, because that's not solving the problem.
Candidate Sanchez?
I agree to an extent, and I'll even take it further. When the encampment happened in disseminating the residents there off of Trinity Park, there was no backup setup. There was no case manager, no mental health clinician, no substance abuse counselor, nothing. It was just to disperse these people, and guess what? A week later, some of them came back. So it is a multi-layer issue with the homeless. There's and right away when you talk about the homeless, you think that it's somebody that's on substance abuse and they don't want to apply to the rules for the shelters. And a lot of times that's not the case. It's individuals that lost their apartment, and so they have nowhere else to live, and they can't afford the rent, so now they're homeless, and they have children, or that they have pets and they don't want to give up their pets. For a lot of them, their pet is their emotional support system. So there are very few shelters that provide kennels to have individuals that are homeless to provide their pets. I think it's comes down to an economic issue within the city. Again, I go back to the pay rate, low income. You're not going to be able to pay, not even rent. Rent is almost double, like $2,000, probably $2,400. And if you're making minimum wage, you're not going to be able to afford that, plus your other expenses. So, and if you're a parent that's raising children, you're going to be homeless. But there are other agencies to help. Community medical center that provides medical assistance.
Next question. With the city facing budget constraints and potential funding shortfalls, how would you approach managing the city's finances, and how would you prioritize spending across essential services such as public safety, homelessness, and community development? Candidate Hollis?
Managing the city budget? Okay, I think that's clearly impossible for my opportunity, but I want to make you guys aware of some things that when we passed Measure In, and a lot of you guys were seeing advertisement about how it's going to make the city safer, and it was going to provide you guys with a community that was going to be better because there was going to be more policing because we were lacking of jobs. When the city had that same budget before, that's when we filed bankruptcy. So what you need to understand is a lot of the money that's being spent right now isn't being spent on you. It's being spent on overtime. It's being spent on new vehicles. It's been spent on positions in the police department that are not even there. We have so many people in this county that make upwards of $200,000 to $500,000 a year. Yet in the city of Stockton, our median income is less than $45,000. The educational rate in Stockton, California is 13% with bachelor's degrees. So think about that. So you're talking about controlling budget. Your budget has been controlled in your face for a long time because the people that take these seats don't care about what happens to the city of Stockton. So when it comes to budget, what I'll do is just tell you the truth.
Candidate Nguyen, same question.
I totally agree with Ms. Hollett about this, the budget process here that need to be, the resident need to pay more attention, especially, during council meeting when they had a contracting work on the agenda. Sometimes you look at the numbers there and you don't know if the company that we doing business with, how they get chosen, how that contracting process have been playing out, and how much that money we pay into there that really actually work for the project that they sign up. And there I learned that there is something in Stockton that if the company sign contract with the city And if later on they need more money that below $100,000, and they can automatically apply to that without the city council approval. So I feel that we need, as the resident and as city council member, we need to look at the contracting process to see how and where the money go, and actually that the money we go to this company actually work for us or not. And also, I think the resident need to, more involved and engaged to look at the number and question your city council member and ask them, what's this number make up, how it's going to be. We need to be more involved, because if we elect the elected official and we just leave them to the job and we don't hold them accountable, then they just go ahead and do whatever they want. They don't come back and report to us. Thank you.
Next, we have candidate Small.
So I had the opportunity a couple of months ago to attend this council's goal-setting meeting. And in that meeting, it was all the upper heads of each department, the city manager. And in that meeting, they spoke about what their goals were for the city for this coming year. And based on those goals, the manager will see, okay, what are the goals for the city? And then they will know how to allocate what first, what's prioritized within the budget. So I'll speak on Measure A, because I think transparency is huge when we are talking about taxpayers' money. People want to know where the money is going, where is it being spent. With Measure A, which passed in 2014, that promised us 120 officers. We have not seen that amount of officers, and we're down 60 officers. So I think having oversight and audits on where the money is being spent and being transparent with the citizens, I think that's very important. And I just go back to the Measure A. Last year, a council member ordered an audit to be complete. A year later, that audit has not been completed. So that's how you lose the trust of the citizens, when you're not transparent and you're not following through with what was ordered to do. I think it's important as a leader to not just give directions, but you have to have follow through, because if you don't, you're gonna lose the trust of the citizens. And public safety, I go back to that again, because we have officers who are putting their lives on the line each and every day, and they're working with no contract for a year. I have a problem with that. That's not okay. We need to take care of our officers, and we need to look at retaining them instead of losing them to other cities that are more desirable. So I think just having oversight on the different areas of the budget and being transparent with the citizens, I think that's what we need to do.
Candidate Sanchez?
That is correct. Measure A was voted in 2014 to increase the number of police officers on the force. And I've asked, where are we with that? And I would tell you, we've reduced the number of police officers instead of increased the number of police officers. Accountability for the fiscal aspect of Measure A, we've been waiting for over a year to see the budget. However, the commissioners that sit on that board that have asked for a report for the audit of Measure A have asked for it for over a year. That information, I don't know if has gone down to the council member that each one of them represents. But ultimately, it is the council member that should be held accountable for the dollars that are being spent and knowing where those dollars are being spent. I learned that the substance abuse or the drug department for the police department is now down to 2 officers for our entire city, 2 officers to oversee the drug department. And when they have what I'll refer to as a SWAT on an area, they go to other cities. They ask adjacent cities' police department to assist them because we don't have enough officers. So it's about accountability for the fiscal. If I'm elected, the first thing I do, and I do this on all the boards that I sit on and organizations throughout the community, is I ask to sit on the fiscal board because I want to know where the dollars are, where is it being spent, and where's the waste. And right now, I know Measure A's got some waste.
I'm very glad that the word transparency was brought up several times because that leads to our next question. Recent community concerns have highlighted issues related to transparency, external influence, and the spread of misinformation in local decision-making. What actions would you take to strengthen accountability, ensure ethical governance, and build public trust in city processes? We're going to start with candidate Small.
I think transparency is very important. I think it's important to elect leaders who are going to govern with honesty, transparency, and integrity. I myself is a person of integrity. As a probation officer, I was held to a much higher standard, much higher than the average citizen. So if I'm elected, I will continue to hold myself to that standard. I think when we're transparent with the community, that's how you gain and build the trust. So I think coming into it, I will be that person of integrity and fight and be the voice for my district, regardless of other people's opinions or, not everybody's gonna get along or have the same idea on things, but as an elected official for my district, I will represent with transparency and with honesty always.
Candidate Hollis? All right. Recent community concerns have highlighted issues related to transparency, external influence, and the spread of misinformation in local decision-making. What actions would you take to strengthen accountability, ensure ethical governance, and build public trust in city processes?
I'm taking those steps now before you guys, and that's why I'm here. I've been taking those steps. If a lot of you guys don't know who I am, I'll repeat my name again. My name is Shelly Hollis, and I've been one that's been holding the city accountable for many years. I'll let you guys know what laws are being broken, what laws are being implemented. And when you talk about distrust, our entire city council right now is distrust. People have motives, people are tied together, people run as slaves, people use the lives that we're living in a city to their advantage when it comes time to be elected. For me, I just want to be that person that's tangible. I want to be your neighbor, I want to be your friend, I want to be that person that you call, that you can speak to. If you guys don't know what's going on, if you guys cannot see through the smoke, if you guys don't know what's going on in the blurred lines, you will never know. A lot of people speak very well about what they will do, and they never follow through. I've been one of the people in the community already speaking up for the people against the people that are putting their thumb on us, and that's the difference with me. So put me in a position where, put me in a seat where I have access to the truth, and I have access to you people, and you have access to me. We can only grow together.
Candidate Wynn?
For people who have watched me attended city council meeting last year, I spoke out against the canceling of the DEI money. The city put $100,000 for that program to ensure that to hire one person to ensure that every hire at the city that reflect our diversity, right? And our previous interim city manager, he canceled that money and he used that money to pay his consultant. So I spoke out against that. So that's what I have been doing. I speak out when needed for the sake of the community. But recently, the city council just voted to move the meeting to 1 o'clock. This will prevent a lot of people from the community to attend the meeting, right? The city council meeting is supposed to be accessible to all residents to come and attend and, to voice their concern. So the first step is when I get elected, I will make sure that we move it back to 5:30 so we all can be able to attend. Secondly, I would hold regular town hall meeting with my district to share with them every month what the city council have been voting on, what they have been doing for us, for the community, for the city, and bring them all the information there and share with them and empower them to attend the city council meeting to ask hard questions to make sure that our money is used for the purpose that we, the residents, vote for. Thank you.
Okay, finally, Candidate Sanchez, would you like the question repeated?
Transparency. With you guys know everything that's going on, and it would not benefit us to try to deceive you guys. I open myself up to you guys to come to me, talk to me, tell me what you see, show me intangible proof what is taking place, and I will be your voice on that council to raise those issues. It's vitally important to have transparency and even to report back to the community, District 1, what is taking place that is unjust. And it's vitally important, and to bring up the issues that I know that are wrong, such as changing the time for you guys to come and speak in public comment time. If the meetings are going so long, then don't pack the whole agenda with so much stuff. And so that way the public does have time for public comment, but don't change the time to 1 o'clock. When are you guys going to have the opportunity to come and speak on an item? Are you going to take time off of work? Then you're not serving the community, you're serving yourself.
At this time, that concludes all of the questions. So we want to thank all of the candidates for being here. We will close with your final remarks. So we'll start with candidate Hollis with your final remarks.
First of all, I want to say thank all of you for coming and witnessing all of us speaking, and the opportunity that we're having to talk to you guys directly about what we're doing. I want to say thank you to my candidates to my left. All of you ladies did a really good job. You guys always have a decision to make. And this time you guys need to be very selfish with the decision you make. You need to make a decision that's best for you. Best for the community you live, best for the city that you're into. And it's easy this time. You guys can pay attention. They talked about transparency and misinformation. Pay attention to who runs for a slate. Pay attention to which candidates are backed by who. Pay attention to misinformed news sources like 209 Times and who they discredit, because those are the people you truly need to be paying attention to. What you guys truly need to do is understand that the person that represents your district represents you, and that person that represents that district is a part of the city representation and leadership, because the council that we have right now is a council that we shouldn't have. And for me, I stepped in place because I'm not represented by anybody except for the people of Stockton.
Thank you. Candidate Nguyen.
Thank you very much, everyone, for coming here today to listen to us, and thank you, the organizer, for organizing this and invited me to be here today. Even though I wasn't born and raised in here, but this is my home. You know, we suffered so much in Vietnam for 15 years before I came here. So this is my home. This is where I start my life again. So this is very dear for me. And in the past 35 years, my family, you know, from like having no money, nobody can speak English. Now we own small businesses in the city. And so, you know, whatever happened in the city, it affects us. So I have prepared for today for 35 years to be here today. Because as a immigrant, you know, we don't dare to dream to engage in this kind of space. But I'm here today, and whether I get elected or not, I will continue to fight for the city and for every resident here. Thank you.
Candidate Sanchez.
I've been, as I stated earlier, born and raised here. My career has been in social service and a public servant. I 20 years in El Concilio, 3 years in visionary home builders, low-income housing building. And I've always been in the community. This isn't just because I decided to run. And I have lived in my district, in my home for 24 years. So I know the community. I have developed programs for the youth. I have developed programs for families. And if I am elected, I will continue to serve the community, not myself, not others' agendas, not anything. I am your voice, your reason. You are the ones that are going to tell me what is going on in the community. Thank you.
Okay, and finally, candidate Small.
Just want to thank the organizations for hosting tonight's forum. Thank you for everybody who came out tonight to listen to us. It's unfortunate that not everybody showed up, but I will, as your elected official, if I'm elected, be there to answer the hard questions, good or bad. I may not have all the answers, and I'm not going to pretend that I do have all the answers and solutions, because I don't, but I will show up and answer your questions. So just remember, when you go out to vote, look at who's your leader right now in your current district. Are you satisfied with what's being done? And if not, you have the choice and the opportunity to change that. If you want to elect somebody that's going to govern with ethical governance, you want to have somebody that's going to be transparent, somebody that's going to be honest, somebody that's not going to vacillate, say one thing but do a different thing. A lot of people will get elected and then they soon forget what they ran their campaign on. So just be smart. Read the ballot statements in your voter guides, read up on us, do your own research, and just make the best decision. And I hope to gain your support in a vote tonight. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, candidates.
Board candidates for county supervisor.
Hello, candidates. First, we are going to start with candidate Steve Dean. Your opening statement, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. My name is Steve Ding. I'm the current supervisor for San Joaquin County. I first ran for the seat 3.5 years ago. I was born and raised in San Joaquin County. I raised my kids in San Joaquin County. Went to Stag State. No, nobody went to Stag, or they would have laughed at that one. Went to Delta College for heading off to college. I own a restaurant in San Joaquin County that I've had for 15 years, and that is my current career. I think I have a reputation of agree or disagree. I'm going to give you a straight answer. We're going to have a gentleman to gentleman or lady conversation about it, and open the conversations. But generally, you don't have to guess what I'm thinking. I'm really not into the rubber chicken dinner circuit. Going around, I like getting work done, and I've done a lot of it. I've cut the sheriff's department vacancy rate, added 65 jobs.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, we're going to move on to candidate Travis Castle.
Hi, my name is Travis Castle, and I'm going to be your next county supervisor. Over the last 2 decades, I've had the privilege of serving the community. As a firefighter paramedic, we're on the front lines. I've seen the decay in our communities. Politicians promise and pander, but they don't produce. And we see this with homelessness in particular. Despite spending millions of dollars promising wraparound services, most of our shelters don't even have job training. I'm going to change that. I'm going to leverage my relationships with the building trades, put job training directly in the shelters, and where they're going to have the choice of 20 different building trades to elevate out of poverty permanently. When there's emergency, you don't wait, you act, and that's the kind of leadership that I'm here to bring. My name is Travis Castle, and I'm here to get things done. Join me.
Alrighty, we're going to begin with the questions. The first one starting off with crime. In recent years, San Joaquin County has faced serious public safety challenges, and community members have called for approaches that both improve immediate safety and address underlying causes of crime. What specific strategies would you support to address these concerns, and how would you approach decisions around resource allocation and coordination across agencies? We're going to start with candidate Castle.
Well, thank you. One of the biggest issues we have with public safety is staffing. Right now, the sheriff's department's on continuous hiring. The fire departments are understaffed as well. It's hard to get people in. So one of the things I want to do is when we build new developments, I want to put aside housing this specifically for the first responders, teachers, and the hospital workers. That way we keep our people here and we can also attract new people in. The other thing we need to do is spend our money wisely. It's very difficult to make sure that we're facing an $18 million deficit. So we need to make sure that we keep the doors open. We We need to add different types of policing as well. One of the things I want to do is similar to what they have in Elk Grove, where they have public safety officers. They're a little bit cheaper and they're usually unarmed. So we can have them take care of low priority calls and address this in a less threatening manner as well. But what's great is we can have our police officers and sheriffs available for the critical calls. People that are shooting, domestic violence, things that need immediate attention. And we need to collaborate with all the fire departments and police departments and take their input and put that into action. Thank you.
Kennedy, you have the floor.
Thank you. First off, as a supervisor with fantastic department heads, fantastic staff, an incredible sheriff, district attorney, I don't come up with strategies on law enforcement. I go to them and I ask them, what works? What do you need? Tell me what I can do for you. One of the first things I did, the sheriff came to me and he was having problems with hiring new deputies, but it wasn't the money, it wasn't the candidates, it was typical bureaucracy. It was taking the HR department a year to put people through the hiring process. So thinking like a businessman, it's like, how do you cut this down? So I went and proposed before the board. We took 2 members from the HR department, we embedded them right in the sheriff's department, and we cut a lot of time off the hiring and staffing went up. I have to correct my opponent. The 18 million is the state. You have the county, the state, the federal. The state budget there is $18 billion, where it's actually more like 22 billion. The county right now is running a surplus. We're in great shape. We're a very conservative county. We put a lot of money into reserves and to take care of that. So I'm extremely proud of that. And I do have a problem, Mr. Castle. I stand behind our deputy sheriffs. I stand behind our men and women in blue, and they have done an incredible job. And I sure as hell wouldn't outsource their jobs to the private sector.
Thank you, Rob. Next, we're moving to our second unhoused community. As the laws and policies increasingly limit where people can legally sleep, many community members are raising concerns about what lack of safety and immediate options are for those experiencing homelessness. What specific short-term strategies would you support addressing these needs, and what is your position on approaches such as safe camping, safe parking, and safe parking programs? Candidate Ding?
Well, first off, there's nothing safe about safe camping, safe whatever. We've been putting million-dollar bandages, hundreds of millions of dollars on programs that don't work. And I'll tell you what the main problem is. The problem is there's this thing that's called the IMD cap. The IMD cap started in 1965. Give you an idea, 1965, the Four Seasons, Motown, that is the last time they changed anything, was during that area. Do you realize our children's home right now, the reason there's only 16 kids in there is because of the IMD cap. That's what needs to be changed. We can shuffle homeless people from one corner to another. We can hand out clothes. We can hand out food and keep them out on the street one more day. The policy of San Joaquin County needs to get people off the street. So what I have proposed, and it's went national, in fact, there was a national publication that came out with my story today, is that 16-bed cap needs to be raised. I'm going to create 2 access centers, two alternative destinations, one of them in Lodi, one of them at our new Be Well campus. First responder, hospital personnel, you'll drive up in a bay. There'll be 2 doors. One says mental health, one says sobering center. Pick your door. And then we're going to get real help and keep them off the street to begin with.
Thank you. Candidate Castle?
So I will agree with Stephen's statement about we can't just let them do safe camping, because there is no safe camping. As a paramedic, I see people frequently tacked in safe camping sources, so I definitely agree with that. The 16-bed cap is terrible. We obviously have to work on that. One of the solutions that I want to do is obviously job training. So we're going to put job training directly in the shelters. Currently, there isn't any at the Lodi Access Center, which is our main area that we serve. So we need to make change for there. It's very difficult to have a alternate destination for dropping people off from EMS. When somebody calls 911, unfortunately, we have to take them to the hospital. And it's very difficult to work through the EMS system and the LEMSA to have that alternate drop off. So that will be quite challenging. One of the main things I want to do is expand affordable housing, but we do it in a creative way. We don't have these giant towers like what they have in San Jose. What I want to do is I want to add ADUs. And one of the biggest barriers to adding ADUs is people don't want to be reassessed. So if you build an ADU on your property, I would like to freeze your property tax, period. And it'd be really nice to have that uploaded right away. The other thing we need to do is we need to cut through the red tape. We have a lot of red tape with building. It's ridiculous. There's so much nonsense with that. So we need to help with that. And this is another thing we need to do. Tough love. We need to stop the handout culture. We can't allow people to just do drugs freely in open markets. We can't allow people to break into your houses and steal stuff from you. We need to hold people accountable. We need to set hand ups, not handouts. And that's what I'd like to make the difference with homelessness. Thank you.
All right. Residents across the county are experiencing poor road conditions, rising transportation costs such as fuel, and limited public transportation options, making it difficult to access work, school, and essential services. What action would you take as a supervisor to address these challenges, and how would you approach improving transportation access across the county? Candidate Dean?
Me, at first again?
Yeah.
I love this. First off, you've got to differentiate. In San Joaquin County, you have county roads, you have city roads, you have state roads such as highways. You have a lot of roads, for instance, if you go lower Sacramento Road, which used to be the Lincoln Highway that connects San Francisco to New York, that would be state. We have paved and treated hundreds of miles in the county, or in my district, since I was elected, over 200 miles, replacing 6 bridges. We're getting a lot done there. As far as transportation, it's kind of interesting what's going on with RTD right now, because RTD is supposed to be servicing the 4th District too, which is Lodi, and they do have one bus line that goes out there. But the way it works in the rest of the county, say you live in Lockford, or you live in Clements, Linden, Marauda, Thornton, the rest of the portions of my district, you have to call in advance to get a ride. They'll come in with a van, they drop you off, but if you have to go home later than 6 o'clock, they can't pick you up. That is the public transportation for the 4th supervisorial district. So I have no problem with public transportation, but I'm a fighter for my district, and I'm not going to support anything that isn't equal and represents the members of my district as well.
I apologize. Go ahead, Kennedy.
You're fine. So one of the things we can change is we have the grapevine that we have in Lodi, and it'd be great to expand that to the surrounding areas like Thornton and Farmington, stuff like that, so they can be able to have access to services in the larger cities. And with gas exploding the way it is, we have to be very creative with how we do stuff. So expanding public transportation is thoroughly important. I do not support the rail project that Newsom's put in with the high-speed rail to nowhere. I would not support anything like that by any means. It's a waste of money, and nothing like that's going to happen in our lifetime. As far as our roads, it is wonderful to maintain and keep our roads repaired, and we need to continue to do that. We have a lot of bridges that need to be kept up with, and so it's going to be balanced with funding, right? We have to fix what we have, expand what we don't, and we have to be very creative with what we do. The state of California is facing a very serious deficit. The county has a bit of a deficit as well, so we need to adjust what we do around our budget. Thank you.
Thank you both. We're gonna go to workforce development. Many working age adults and families in San Joaquin County are struggling to find jobs that meet their basic needs and community members have raised concerns about limited local opportunities and underutilized commercial spaces. What specific strategies would you support to expand economic opportunities in the county? And how would you approach workforce development and job growth for working age adults? Candidate Castle.
Thank you. So one of the first things we need to do is we need to have our builders local. So currently with the MC3 job training that we have with the building trades, they're working really hard to train more trades individuals, be plumbers, electricians, whatever. We have to expand their capabilities. Right now there's different agreements with the state federal agreements, and they're using outside union labor. They're bringing in people from Montana and Texas to fulfill those union building agreements. And that's not really helping us. We have a lot of our union members that are traveling to the Bay Area to work, and we should need to keep our workers here. As far as downtown goes, we need to, if anything's vacant, we should look into taxing it and say, why is this vacant? Have the fire department involved, saying this is a fire hazard. You know, I know the firefighters go in there continuously. There's people breaking into them. These are abandoned buildings that are just complete eyesores. So it'd be good to work with the city and the counties to improve that as well. And workforce, if we build more, we're gonna have more development. And what I want to do is I want to expand our residential developments as well. We are severely underhoused, if you will, and we need to build a lot more housing to keep up with the demand. And one of the things I want to do is stand against the corporate investors such as BlackRock buying up all the free housing. So we need to put limitations on that as well. But it's going to be a collaborative deal, and it's very difficult to establish new jobs, but we need to find a way and work together. Thank you.
Candidate Ding, would you like me to?
No, I got it, thank you. Maybe you could take all that downtown empty building and all the free housing you want to give to government workers, you can just move them down there, problem solved. Here's the deal. The county is an appendage of the state. The state sets the rules and they're supposed to give us the money to fund it, which they're not doing at the current time. When you want to talk about labor and jobs, strictly talking about, you know, my opponent's big supporters, he's about 99% funded by big labor right now. Labor does not represent a huge chunk of San Joaquin County. The building trades in San Joaquin County, only about 10% of them are union. Now, you want to know who's not union? It's all of our little mom and pop shops. A lot of minority owned businesses. Guess what? Under a PLA that's being proposed by his supporters, it would require not only prevailing wage, it would require that any project, on public project, all those little mom and pop shops, they have to go through the union shops. So if you decided that you wanted to open up a plumbing shop or an electrical shop, not because you dreamt of being a plumber, you dreamt of being an independent businessman. You didn't want a boss, you wanted to be your own boss. This kills it. That went before the county about 2 weeks ago, and I'm happy to say I had a part in making that go away. The unions aren't very happy with me, and so they found a friend next door. But I damned if I'm gonna allow our little mom and pop, our small business to be run out of town because it's politically advantageous to politicians to do nothing but support labor.
So, for our last question, San Joaquin County has paid out millions in taxpayer-funded settlements over the last several years due to allegations of excessive force and misconduct within the sheriff's department and the jail. As a supervisor, you hold the power of the purse. Rather than just paying these settlements and moving on, what specific legislative mechanisms will you introduce to ensure that the cost of police misconduct is tied to department leadership accountability so that the taxpayers aren't the ones perpetually footing the bill for bad apples. Candidate Castle.
Your fights. Okay, ready? So back to the public safety officers. So those, just like in Elk Grove, they're employed by the city. So I want to expand that with the sheriff's department, this city's police department, so they can have de-escalation people to help de-escalate smaller issues. So that's one of the main things that I was talking about with that. So I think if we focus on the policies and really working on training and collaborating and adding more police officers, we're going to have a lot less overtime as well, and we're going to have people that specialize, that maybe they're not a full cop, but we have people that are able to work down the anxiety of these people who are having psychiatric issues. So it'd be nice to have those specialists in there instead of sticking that with the police officers continuously, because they're here to serve and protect. They're not psychiatrists, so it'd be nice to add that little extra. And I would like to engage the misunderstanding with the building trades. I actually do support both non and union building. What I was talking about is existing PLAs that we're using outside labor from Montana and bringing it in here. So I want to use local union labor for local union jobs. And not everything should be a union job. We need to have diversity with it. We need to have competition. When we don't have competition, we have situations like PG&E, and that's thoroughly inappropriate. But we do need to hold the bad actors accountable, right? We need to, if we're hiring police officers that are constantly getting violations, maybe we need to take them off the beat. Maybe we put them somewhere else. It doesn't do us any good to circumvent any hiring mechanisms to hire new people when you are dealing with something like what happened in Minnesota, where somebody used an illegal chokehold, somebody died, and there's all the riots with that, right? So we need to protect our community. We need to hold people accountable.
All right. All right, Candidate Dean, get you.
Thank you. First off, clarification, we don't have a PLA at all. Project labor agreement is a step up. In fact, a lot of municipalities across California have gotten rid of them because it jacks up the cost 20-25%. It's not equitable, it's discriminatory, and it's bad policy. And so that's done. I believe the question was on lawsuits. And then I'll address one more. I cannot believe Mr. Union Man here is pushing the privatization of our police force. I stand with the Deputy Sheriff's Association and our men and women in uniform, and I will fight to make sure they keep that. As far as the lawsuits, it is absolutely flippin' outrageous. And I could tell you some of the lawsuits that we have lost. We lost one with a medical examiner who had no license. He had no license. He was accused of being with little boys. And you know that thing went before a jury, and we lost. Because it was before Christmas time, and they wanted to get out. I've got a message for all the citizens of San Joaquin County. I need your help too. You've got to take jury duty seriously. When you're asked to serve on a jury, you serve on the damn jury. Because what you wind up with is people that don't want to be on the jury. And they look at the government and they're going, oh, it's just $500,000. It's just the government. Go ahead and spend it. Oh, it's just $1 million. And then the attorneys get trained that the government's going to fold. You know, we can ask for $100,000. It's not worth it to fight it. So just ask them for it and they'll fold. And it drives me insane. So yes, I have challenged a couple of them. And by the way, lost. But the system's got to change. As far as abusive officers, no, you don't warn them. You can their ass. Period. I don't want them on the street. One of the reasons we have gaps in our funding right now is because this sheriff, Higher Hell Water, is not putting anybody on that force that is not trained and adequately equipped to be on our streets and part of our community.
Thank you very much, candidates. That concludes our questions for the day. Before we go into our closing remarks, I'm going to remind everyone of the rules of the forum. Please, let's keep our language G-rated. No foul language in the house. Thank you very much. If we can go ahead, and we have our closing statements. We are going to start with Candidate Dean, if you would like to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. I get very passionate about this issue. I love the people of San Joaquin County. This is my home, and so when I hear it, attacked, or I hear people looking at doing things that don't make sense, yeah, I'm a fighter, and I think we need more of them in this community. A lot of you here know me, and you know darn well. I know. I say it like it is, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you. We're gonna have a conversation about it, but you can pick up the phone and you can call me, you're not gonna get any BS. Is that okay? Anyway, I'm a man of action. I've gotten a lot of stuff done here, and I hope you re-elect me. And I'll clean up my language if you do.
All right, Candidate Council, you have the floor.
Thank you. So imagine you hire a roofer. They come over to your house, they hop on the roof, come down. They say, I fixed your roof, I fixed your chimney, and I repaired your gutters. You pay them and they leave. The first rainstorm happens, and you have a waterfall in your living room. You call the roofer up and you say, hey, my roof's leaking. They say, no, you're fine. I fixed the chimney and I fixed the gutters. Don't worry about the roof. This is what, you would never hire that roofer again, right? But this is what the politicians are giving us. They say, I fixed some roads, I got rid of some copper wire theft, which is great, but homelessness at the last point in time count in this county doubled. We have the highest increase in homelessness in the state of California, in this county. We need to create change. When the house is on fire, you have to attack the flames, and that's what I'm going to do with the county's issues. Piece by piece, progress through process. My name is Travis Castle, and I'm here to get things done. Join me.
Thank you so much, candidates.
I want to thank the candidates once again for San Joaquin County District 4, Steve Dean, Travis Castle. Please give another round of applause. We also invited candidates for San Joaquin County District number 2. Neither candidate is here today. We want to acknowledge that we have the media present. We have and so we have the Stockton Record, who is here as well, joining us and covering today's events. At this moment, we are halfway through our forum. We're going to take a 2-minute stretch break. Afterwards, we'll hear from Stockton City Council, District 3 and District number 5, and that will conclude our forum. For our 2-minute break, we encourage you to stop at the register of voters table to get some good handouts. We also have cookies in the back as well. And also we have the observer table. And please do say hello to someone. We'll come back in exactly 2 minutes. Thank you.